I'm John Sadler, President of Sadler Sports and Recreation Insurance, and we're delighted to have been chosen as the insurance agency for National Junior Basketball. With the input of NJB, we've customized a special insurance program to meet your coverage needs. The purpose of this video is to review the insurance coverage highlights, how to request certificates of insurance, how to turn in a claim, and the risk management services that we offer to help prevent injuries and lawsuits. You can get complete information on the NJB Insurance Program at any time by going to the NJB website, going to Programs, Directors, and scrolling down the page and clicking on the Insurance Coverage link. This takes you to a special page for NJB that we created on our website, which includes all the insurance and risk management information and forms that you need. Here's a list of the insurance policies that we offer. The first two, the excess accident and general liability, are automatically provided by NJB. On the other hand, the optional coverages, which are directors and officers liability, crime and equipment, must be separately applied for and purchased by each chapter. We have a simple one-page application for each of these optional coverages that you can access and print from the NJB Insurance webpage. Excess accident insurance pays for covered medical bills on behalf of injured participants on an excess or secondary basis after taking into account any existing family health insurance. Under excess accident insurance, there are three scenarios. First, if family health insurance pays for all the medical bills, the accident policy won't respond. Second, if family health insurance does not pay all the bills due to its own deductible or co-insurance, the accident policy will fill in the gaps, less the deductible. Third, if there is no existing family health insurance, the accident policy will pay all covered bills, less the deductible. Covered persons include all players and staff. Covered activities include officially sponsored, sanctioned, and supervised events and practices, including related activities and travel. Related activities include banquets, meetings, fundraisers, and similar events. Covered travel includes team or group travel arranged and supervised by the chapter to or from any covered activity. The medical limit is $25,000 per claim with a $100 deductible. The accidental death and dismemberment limit is $5,000. The general liability policy covers certain lawsuits alleging that your negligence has resulted in bodily injury, property damage, or personal advertising injury. The most frequent incidents that result in lawsuits are injuries to spectators and participants. The policy covers the chapter and its directors, officers, employees, and volunteers while operating within the scope of their official duties. The policy also covers facility owners that are named as additional insureds. The each occurrence limit is $1 million and the aggregate limit is $3 million per chapter. This policy also covers allegations of sex abuse and molestation, as well as non-owned and hired auto liability. The non-owned and hired auto liability covers the vicarious liability of the chapter in the event that a staff member uses their personal vehicle or a rental vehicle on chapter business and is involved in an accident. This coverage is not intended to cover the individual driver of the vehicle, who should look towards their individual personal auto policy for protection. Sex abuse and molestation coverage is provided at a $1 million each occurrence limit and a $2 million aggregate limit per chapter. The insurance industry is very paranoid right now about this exposure due to all the publicity from the Sandusky incident at Penn State, and they require a number of controls as a result. Your coverage is contingent upon three controls being in place. First, you must have a system in place to run background checks on all staff with access to youth. Second, you must have written policies and procedures in place to make an incident less likely to occur. Examples would be a buddy system, where a single adult is never alone with a single unrelated child. Third, you must have a written incident response plan in place, including a requirement to notify law enforcement in the event of an allegation. In the event that you're worried about having the written program in place to comply with the policies and procedures in the allegation response, don't worry, because we make it very easy. We offer a one-page short-form sex abuse molestation risk management program, which is available on the NJB Insurance webpage. You simply adopt the one-page document as your official chapter policy, distribute it to all your administrators and staff, and follow the rules. It really doesn't get any easier than that, and this actually works. Directors and officers' liability covers certain lawsuits that are not covered by your general liability policy. Examples include discrimination based on race, sex, age, or handicap, wrongful suspension or termination of chapter personnel or players, and failure to follow your own rules or bylaws when you make an administrative decision. Covered persons include the chapter and respective directors, officers, employees, and volunteers while operating within the scope of their official duties. The limit is $1 million and the cost is $300 per chapter. The crime policy covers against financial loss caused by embezzlement, unauthorized personal charges, or theft of cash or equipment by your own staff. It also covers theft of cash by outsiders. Unfortunately, these things happen somewhat frequently within youth sports organizations due to lack of financial controls. The limit is $25,000 and the cost is $175 per chapter. Equipment insurance covers your sports, concession, or maintenance equipment against certain perils such as fire, windstorm, theft, and vandalism. The cost is $2 per $100 of insured replacement cost value, subject to a $250 minimum premium. A $1,000 per claim deductible applies. All certificate of insurance requests for facility owners are to be emailed to Jeannie Calhoun at the NJB office. Your email should include the correct certificate holder name, contact name, street address, state, zip, and the relationship to your chapter, such as facility owner. Also, be sure to include any special insurance wording that may be required. Anytime you have an incident which could result in either an accident or general liability claim, or a claim under one of the optional policies, the chapter director must immediately report the claim to the NJB office, and they will forward the appropriate claim form. Just as a clarification, accident claims should be reported for injuries to players or staff that result in medical treatment. A general liability claim should only be reported for injuries to spectators or more serious injuries to players or staff, which could result in a lawsuit. There's a 5-step process for submitting an accident claim form to the insurance carrier. First, the parent of the injured participant contacts the chapter director. Second, the chapter director contacts NJB headquarters to request a claim form. Third, the chapter director completes Part 1 of the claim form and returns the form to NJB headquarters. Fourth, NJB reviews and approves and sends the entire claim form to the parent. Fifth, the parent completes Part 2 of the form and sends the entire form along with all itemized bills and explanations of benefits, if any, to the claims adjuster for processing. All of these steps are explained on the cover of the claim form. We take risk management very seriously because we want to prevent the injury or lawsuit before it becomes a claim, which could hurt the NJB loss history, resulting in future rate increases. I've personally researched and developed risk management resources that are simple, easy to implement, and free, and which, if implemented, will definitely reduce your risk of injury and lawsuits. Let me stress that they are simple and easy because we understand that as volunteers, your time is limited. In order to access our free risk management services, go to the NJB Insurance webpage, scroll to the bottom, and click on the link to access risk management content. When you get there, you'll notice that the left-hand side of the page is our unrestricted access page, which is open to the general public. All you do is enter your name and your email address. And you should check out some of the content here. Under 15 passenger vans, you should never use them to transport your team due to their tip-over propensity. Before you sign the facility lease agreement, you need to carefully review any lease agreements to make sure you comply with insurance requirements and don't unfairly assume the liability of the facility owner under an indemnification or hold harmless agreement. Under the Child Abuse Molestation Protection Program short form, this is the one document that I already talked about that your chapter should implement to satisfy the insurance carrier requirements for coverage. We have articles of recommended background check providers that explain the different types of background checks and their strengths and weaknesses. We also have an excellent article entitled How to Avoid the 7 Deadly Sins of Sports Insurance that explains each of the policies in greater detail and why you need each one. We recently developed a concussion risk management program that coordinates with the CDC Heads Up Training Program and their online video and information sheet handouts. Our best content is located under the password protected section of our website in the right-hand column. You must enter the password RISK in order to access the content. We have 2 excellent implementation videos for your administrators on how to implement a risk management program and how to implement a sex abuse molestation program. We also have 2 excellent awareness training videos for your administrators and staff that trains them on how to recognize risk and how to respond to them. The first covers general safety at your practices and games, and the second one applies to making a hostile environment for sexual predators. And finally, we have sample Word doc templates for risk management plans that your chapters can easily adopt by filling in a few blanks and making a few decisions about your policies and procedures. For your basketball chapters, I recommend the sample basic plan, which includes the sex abuse and molestation risk management section, or you could just implement the sex abuse molestation on a standalone basis. It's important that you don't just start shooting from the hip and running background checks, because you can get your pantsuit off for slander, invasion of privacy, taking an action contrary to the Fair Credit Reporting Act, or not following your predetermined disqualification criteria. And our program covers all this from A to Z to help keep you out of trouble. In my opinion, these are the easiest and most effective plans that you can find, and will take your risk management and safety to a whole new level. In conclusion, I appreciate your time today and look forward to working with NJB. Please contact our sports department at 800-622-7370 if you have any questions. Thanks.